Okay.
I will take the full control over the session by muting all the participants. You don't have any control for unmuting yourself. If you have any complaints or if you have any doubts, you please just raise your hand or you just put a small message in the chat box. Don't put unnecessary messages in the chat box, which is visually, we can visually see anyone. The authorities also visually see the messages. Okay, so don't put unnecessary messages and don't do unnecessary activities. If you have any doubts regarding the subject and if you are not unable to listen my voice or if you are unable to see the contents what I am showing on the screen, just you raise your hand so that I will give you control, so that I will listen what is the problem that you are facing, right? So remaining all the technical problems, the technical issues are completely belongs to you, not belongs to myself, my side, right? Right. In the last class, we have already completed the per unit quantities representation, and we have solved some problems based on this particular concept, that is per unit quantities representation. So please do practice. So definitely you will get one problem, one full problem from that particular concept, per unit quantities representation. Okay. So because of the time constraint, I have explained only 2 to 3 problems in the class. Definitely, I will give you the material regarding the chapter number one whenever the chapter number 1 has been completed, right? And regarding the problems, you just go through the textbook. What I already suggested you, that modern power system analysis by Nagrath and Kothari. So if you go through that modern power system analysis by Nagrath and Kothari, obviously you will find lot of problems. And Nagur Kani is already available. That is a local author, Indian author. You can find different number of problems. Okay, so that is up to you. You just follow the textbook what you want and whichever is convenient to you, and please listen the classes carefully. Okay. The first half of the syllabus half of the chapter number 1 has been completed. So with the per unit quantities representation. Now, in the last class, I have started the new concept, that is graph theory definitions. So graph theory definitions, we have seen node, element, matrix, and just wait a moment. So you will have a lot of definitions, like element of a graph, node, okay, vertex, planar graph and coplanar graph, etc. etc. So many definitions are there, and I have explained each and everything. Right now, I'm going to explain the next concept, that is element node incidence matrix. So what is the element node incidence matrix, and why we are using this element node incidence matrix, and where do we find this particular concept in the power system analysis? Okay. Next, in the next coming topic, we are discussing about the formation of VIBUS. Formation of VIBUS. I think you will have some idea regarding the VIBUS formation. VIBUS formation. So, what is the need of having the VIBUS? So obviously, in your analysis topic, we are mainly concentrating on the admittance, not impedance. Okay, even though he has given impedance, obviously we need to convert that into admittance. So from the load flow analysis, obviously you will get that one. You will get that admittance concept. So that's why, in order to formulate the admittance matrix, you need the information regarding element node incidence matrix. So in this chapter number 1, we will have some topics which are related to that formulation of VIBUS matrix. Okay, saying a similar transformation, and obviously you are also having one more method. We will discuss it later, but up to that, first of all, before going to start that one, first of all, you need the information regarding the element node incidence matrix and bus incidence matrix. So first of all, after obtaining these two matrices, later we are going to see the next one, that is VIBUS formulation. Right now, today I will explain the topic on the whiteboard. You just go through this. Now I'm showing my content here. element node incidence matrix. So element node incidence matrix. Okay. So what is an element and what is a node? Obviously, we have seen in the last class. Again, I don't want to repeat the same instructions again and again. So element node incidence. So here, in order to find out or in order to determine this element node incidence matrix, first of all, we are considering a graph. So this is the topic that we are going to discuss now. Okay. Now see here. Just I am considering a graph here. So this is just an example. This is just an example. So this is a graph which contains number of elements. Elements are nothing but a straight line or line segments that connects two nodes. Node is nothing but a terminal point, right? So element node incidence matrix now. So I am considering this as zeroth node, node 1, node 2, node 1, node 2, node 3. Everything is very important here. Now the direction is like this. Okay. Now from this, you can have the direction like this. Number 4. So this is 1 and this is 2 and this is 3. Okay. Now this is 4 and this is 5. This is 6. Now you see here. So this is just nothing but a graph. This is just nothing but a graph. In this particular graph, you will have 4 nodes: node 0, node 1, node 2, and node 3. So these are the terminal points of the line segments. Terminal points of the line segments. So this is the basic definition of node. Right now, what are these? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now these are all called the elements. Elements are nothing but the straight line segments which connects to nodes. Now you see here. So this is the line segment 1. Now this line segment 1 connects this node 1 and node 0. Similarly, this is line segment 6, which connects the node 1 and node 2. And similarly, this is the line segment 4, which connects node 0 and node 3. So this is basically a simple example we have considered, right? Simple example we have considered. So before going to see that, first of all, we are going to have some assumptions. We need to consider these assumptions for determining the element node incidence matrix. See, whenever I use a matrix, means obviously it must have some size. So row size and column size. So assumptions. So assumptions. The first assumption is, So this must have some these assumptions. So first assumption number 1, alpha PQ is equal to alpha PQ is equal to 1. Now the second one is alpha PQ is equal to -1. Third one is alpha PQ is equal to 0. Now these three are the assumptions, basic assumptions you must remember for determining the element node incidence matrix. So let me explain what is alpha PQ and what is 1 minus 1 0. That means, so here in this particular case, Q belongs to the nodes, number of nodes. Okay. And P belongs to element. Okay, now you see here. So when pth element is incident on qth node and which is directed away, suppose if you are considering two nodes here, now this is a straight line segment which connects these two nodes. So this is pth node and this is qth node. Now you see here the direction is away from P and towards Q. So this direction of this arrow is directed away from P and directed towards Q. Okay. So by keeping this point in mind, we are taking this assumption, the first assumption. Pth element is incident on qth node. So when this happens, directed away, which is directed away. When pth element is, now what is incidence? What is incidence? It is nothing but a connectivity. It is nothing but incidence, nothing but the meaning of incidence is nothing but a connectivity. So when pth element is incident on qth node and which is directed away from qth node, obviously you can consider that alpha pq is equal to 1. Now similarly, when pth element is incident on qth node and which is directed towards that particular node, directed towards, away and towards, directed towards. Now consider the same thing. So here P is one node, Q is one node. Okay. So in between P and Q, you are having one connectivity. That is nothing but a line segment, or you can also call that as a element. Now, when we consider pth node, this arrow is directed away from pth node, but it is directed towards qth node. So that is the meaning of directed away and directed towards. Suppose if there is no connectivity, that means pth element is not incident and there is no connectivity between element and node. In that particular case, you are directly asked to substitute 0 here. Okay. Now, what is the size of this particular element node incidence matrix? So element node incidence matrix size is completely depends on the number of elements and the number of nodes. Just wait a moment, I will explain. Okay, E by N, right? So if it contains, so this is the graph we have taken, and for this particular graph, we are going to determine the element node incidence matrix. So finally, we are going to obtain the element node incidence matrix of size E by N, which is denoted with the A bar. These are the standard notations you need to remember. So A bar is nothing but element node incidence matrix and which is of size E by N. So how many elements are there here? Elements is nothing but a line segment. So first one, second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one and sixth one. So how many elements are here? So total 6 elements are there. Now how many number of nodes are connected in this particular graph? Node 1, 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4 nodes. So similarly, the A bar or the element node incidence matrix that you are going to obtain of the size 6 by 4. 6 by 4. Only this is an example. This is an example graph. So likewise, similarly, you can obtain the size of the matrix just by seeing the graph what he has given. So sometimes directly you are asked to find out or determine element node incidence matrix of a graph which is as shown in the figure. So definitely he will mention the graph. So from that graph only, first of all, you need to obtain all these. So what is E, what is N, and the element node incidence matrix elements, right? So these are the assumptions you must remember. So alpha PQ is equal to 1, alpha PQ is equal to -1, and this is equal to 0, right? Now see here, I'm going to obtain element node incidence matrix now. So that is a matrix. I don't want to rub all these things. Why? Because these are very, very important to obtain the matrix. Okay. Now I'm going to obtain A bar here. So for this particular graph, the element node incidence matrix is given by A bar is equal to. So for your clear understanding, I am going to consider two lines. Now you see here. So on this line, so horizontal line, I am considering number of nodes, and this is equal to number of elements. So finally, the size is E by N, right? So these are the row size and these are the column size. So columns here and rows are like this. Okay. So the nodes are starting with the 0, 1, 2, 3. So total 4 columns are there. So total 4 columns, and the row size is nothing but the number of elements. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See how I am considering all these things. So these are completely obtained from the graph itself. So in the graph, you will have total 6 line segments, and those line segments are called elements. And you will have total 4 nodes, including the reference node. Here, the reference node is considered as a 0. And remaining the nodes are already, 1, 2, 3 are the actual nodes. Okay. So total, the size of the element node incidence matrix is equal to E by N. So E is nothing but total 6 by N. So the final result must be of the size 6 by 4. Now we are going to obtain, substitute the values. Okay, we are going to determine the values of the elements in the first row and first column, and second row, first column, etc. All these things. Now consider the reference node. Consider the reference node. Now you see here, I am considering the reference node 0 and the first element 1, element number 1. Now you see here, so from the graph, so this is 0th node and this is the element number 1. Element number. So is there any connectivity? Yes, it is. There is a connectivity. That means pth element, that is first element, is incident on 0th node. So alpha PQ is equal to 1. That means pth node is incident on q. Pth element is incident on qth node, and which is directed away, or which is directed towards, or which, if there is no connection, obviously you can substitute alpha PQ is equal to 0. Now let us consider the first one. So in this particular case, pth element is incident on qth node. That means first element is incident on 0th node. Incidence is nothing but connectivity. Incidence is nothing but connectivity. Please do remember that. Incidence is nothing but connectivity. Yes, definitely there is a connection. And obviously, if you are considering this one, now this is directed away from 0th node. Directed away. That means you need to substitute 1 here. Now consider node number 1. Similarly, element number 1. Now consider or verify whether there is a connectivity or not. Now element 1 is connected to node 1. Obviously there is a connection. So there is an incidence. But this element is directed towards node 1. Please do remember or observe the difference between the first one and second one. Now in this particular case, you are asked to substitute -1. Why? Because already we have assumed that alpha peak is equal to 1 if the element is directed away from the node 0 or node 1, and alpha pq is equal to -1 which is directed towards. So in the second case, the element 1 is directed towards node 1. Obviously you can consider that as a -1. Okay, -1. And look at the remaining nodes, node 2 and node 3. Now see, element, say, is there any connection between node 2 node 3 with element 1? No. Why? Because node 2 at this one, node 3 at this point, you don't have any incidence. Obviously you can directly substitute 0 and 0, 0 and 0. Now similarly consider second element. Now second element is this one. Now this has been connected to 0 and 2. So this has been connected to 0 and 2. So there is no connectivity between 1 and 3 nodes. So directly you can directly substitute 1 is at 1, correspondingly 0, and at 0 you will have sorry, at 3 you will have 0. So the only nodes that you are having some incidence is node 0 and node 2. So if you consider node 0, now the element 2 is directed away from this one. So obviously you can directly substitute 1 here. Obviously you will get -1 here. So similarly, upon simplification, you will get, so directly note down this. Now please verify whether this is correct or not. So here I am writing here, according to the same assumptions. Please verify whether this is correct or not. Now this is the element node incidence matrix. So in this way, for the given graph, you are going to determine the element node incidence matrix. So just you simply remember the assumptions what we have taken, and simply substitute the alpha pq is equal to whether it is 1 or -1 or 0. It is completely depends on the pth element incidence on qth node, right? So this is the element node incidence matrix, and which is denoted with a bar, a bar. Now, in general, we are going to write down here as the generalized expression q is equal to 0 to 3, number of nodes 0 to 3, alpha pq is equal to 0. Please verify whether it is correct or not. Alpha pq is equal to 0. Why? Because 1 minus 1, obviously, if you add 1 minus 1, you will get 0. All are remaining, all are zeros, all, right? Okay. So for p is equal to 1 to 6. 6. Please note down this. Please note down this. Just I will give you some time for noting all these things. Just to take 2 to 3 minutes. Please note on this one. See, whenever I'm saying that please note down this means obviously please maintain a separate notebook and note down all these things. Okay. Okay, okay, all. Now we are going to see the next one, that is bus incidence matrix. Bus incidence matrix. Students, is my voice is audible? Any one of you, please just put a small message in the chat box. Is my voice is audible? Is it okay? So because of the poor network connection, just I quitted and again I have joined the session. Is my voice is audible? Any one of you, please respond. Is my voice is audible? Is it okay? Somebody has raised some doubt. Is it okay? $252. I have given you control. Just speak. 18 series roll number 252. I think you have raised your hand, right? Hello? Students, is my voice is audible? Ganesh? Ganesh? Now again, I'm going to discuss about the next topic. See, just now we have seen the formation of element node incidence matrix. Now the next one is bus incidence matrix. Okay, next one is bus incidence matrix. Initially there is no difference between, so the formation of bus incidence matrix is very easy. Formation of bus incidence matrix is very easy. Now let me explain how it is formed. Bus incidence matrix. So the next one is bus incidence matrix. How do we obtain bus incidence matrix? This is very easy. Why? Because once if you know how to form the element node incidence matrix, obviously it is easy to get the bus incidence matrix. So you can delete the column corresponding to the reference node. Just now I will explain. Just wait a moment. I will explain. So I think this is N and this is E. So 0, 1, 2, 3. Number of elements 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So this is the matrix. Just now we have determined, we have formed bus element node incidence matrix. So I don't want to written all these things. See, just now you have noted the all the values of this particular matrix E by N. Now this is belongs to element node incidence matrix. So in this particular matrix, if we eliminate or if we delete the column corresponding to the reference node, now you can obtain the bus incidence matrix. That means you need to delete all the elements in this particular zeroth node column. That means now your size of the bus incidence matrix is equal to n minus 1. Why? Because you don't have that reference node. Obviously, you will get n minus 1. So in the previous case, element node incidence matrix, we will have n number of nodes, including that reference node. But in this particular case, we don't have that reference node. So we can eliminate that reference node. Simply, we can obtain the bus incidence matrix from a element node incidence matrix. See how simple it is. How simple it is. These particular matrices are used for the formation of YBus admittance matrix. Okay, so that is the importance of having this one. Now just wait a moment. I will open the PDF document. Now I think it is also visible to you. So we have completed all these things. We have completed this one also. And later we have started the graph theory definitions and we completed that one also. See, these are the graph theory definitions: element of a graph, what is a node, what is a degree, what is a graph, what is a rank, what is a subgraph. This is the content actually I delivered in the last class, right? So this is the element node incidence matrix. So just now we have determined all these things. So this is A bar bus element node incidence matrix. Now the bus incidence matrix is just to eliminate the column corresponding to that reference node, you will get the bus incidence matrix. Next, the primitive network. So what is nothing but a primitive network? So every power system element can be described by a primitive network, which is a set of unconnected elements. Nothing but in each and every power system, we will have the impedances, admittances. Okay. Likewise, we are having so many parameters which are of unconnected elements. So all those unconnected elements can be represented with the use of a primitive network. So now you see here primitive network. So this is the network, so which contains the source, voltage source in series with an impedance ZAB, and these two are the nodes. A and B are called the nodes, and this is the reference point, the reference line. So this is the reference line. So obviously the voltage or the current source, you can also consider this as a current source, current IAB and ZAB. So ZAB is nothing but the impedance in between the node A and the node B, and VA. So this is the voltage measured with respect to the reference point, and this is the voltage we are measured with respect to the reference point or the ground potential. So obviously, how can we obtain VAB? Just by taking the difference between the two voltages. So VA minus VB, VA minus VB. Okay. So likewise, you are going to form a network here. Now where A and B are the terminals. So just now I told you that node. What is a node? So node is nothing but the terminal point of a line segment. So here in this particular network, you are having two terminals. So two nodes. So that's why A and B are called the nodes. And ZAB is connected between the two nodes, means obviously that is the impedance between A and B. So here VAB is considered as voltage across the network element AB. Network element is nothing but a line segment which connects two terminals or two nodes, and EAB is the source voltage in series with the network element B. So this is a primitive network. Okay. And ZAB is the self impedance of the network element IAB. So I have explained each and every point. What is VA, what is VB, what is VAB, what is IAB, what is ZAB, and what is EAB. So from that network already we know that so total VAB is equal to, now you see here, VAB plus EAB is equal to ZAB into IAB. Please do remember that. So this is the total voltage that will be equal to the voltage drop across these 2 points VAB and EAB also. That is the small amount of voltage that is dropped across the current source. And similarly, so this is nothing but an impedance, primitive network consisting of impedances. So now primitive network consisting of the admittances. How can we draw the admittance network? So simply you can replace ZAB with the YAB. So the remaining all are as it is. Now you see here. So obviously we know that y is equal to I by V. Is it not? So I is equal to y into V. Now you see here. So ZAB is the source element in parallel with this one. So this is a simple concept. You will have the impedance network, and you will also have the admittance network. You can simply note down what are the elements to be connected in the primitive network. Primitive network is just nothing but either you can suppose indirectly in your question paper he does not mention anything regarding the either it is impedance network or admittance network. Obviously you need to consider any of these two networks to explain the primitive network. Okay, whichever is convenient to you. So in this particular case, again same, the only thing is this part. The only difference is this one. Only difference is this one. Here you will have impedance, so in place of this you will have admittance here. In place of this you will have admittance. The only difference is this one. The remaining are as it is. YAB is the self admittance of the network element EAB. IAB is the current source. IAB is the current source in parallel with the network element AB, and JAB is the current source. IAB is the current which is flowing through the network element EAB. So whenever these two are gets connected in parallel, now you see here, you will have two paths for current flowing. So one thing is in this direction, another one is through this direction. Okay, so current is divided into two parts. That is very, very important here. Now from the diagram we can see already we know that by applying KVL or KCL in the specific that primitive network, obviously you can get all these things. You can get all these things where IAB plus JAB is the total current that is flowing. Now you see here. So there are two currents which are flowing through this one. So I am considering this as IAB and this is JAB. This is a current source and this is a current which is flowing through this path. So total current is divided into two parts. So total incoming current is equal to this one. So total current is equal to IAB plus JAB is equal to YAB into VAB. YAB into the voltage in between, the voltage applied or the voltage drop across A and B nodes is equal to VAB. So YAB into VAB is equal to IAB plus JAB. This is the total current that can be obtained from the diagram, primitive network of admittance, right? So that's all for today, and the remaining the last topic that is left in the chapter number 1 is formation of fibers using singular transformation. Okay, that is the only topic that is left. So within 2-3 classes I shall able to complete this chapter number 1. Okay, so these chapters are looks very easy, but if you are not practicing all the problems and all the concepts in this particular chapter, this will becomes difficulty. I am telling you this only for your reference. Do you have any doubts? Do you have any doubts? If you have any doubts, you please raise your doubts. Otherwise, I will leave you and I shall meet you in the next class, right? Thank you.